We are here today, Stephanie with Boom Roasted, and I'm here with John Ali, and we are having a vanilla latte made by me today.
I was forced to drink it. She said you have to.
Yeah, he loves it. Don't let him lie to you. On the regular. I almost have his wife converted to you. So John, you and I known each other for about 20 years. You're just a wee little lad.
Wow.
It's a little bit of time.
20 years.
20 years. 20 years ago, what were you doing?
Figuring out who Jesus was.
Figuring out who Jesus was. And you and your whole family was traveling to the United States, right?
We were living either in Florida or Alabama. I believe I went to Alpha School. So yeah, that was an interesting transition from Trinidad to America. So my childhood memories are kind of wonky with it. I can't remember like Trinidad or America, which one was which, but yeah.
Yeah, and moving to Florida. So Florida's where I'm from originally. So that's how I met you and your family. Your dad used to travel there and do a lot of, evangelistic work there. Yeah. And when you guys moved there for a season, it was because your dad felt called at the time to be a missionary here full time, right?
That's right. He got a vision that he needed to be here, and then he got another vision that he needed to go back.
Yeah.
So there were just like two seasons in our life. One season where I was in a public school, and then another season I was homeschooled. So
yeah, because it was a tough transition. Because we'll just be honest, my hometown at the time was not very integrated.
No.
Yeah, so that was probably kind of a tough season for you and your brother and sister.
Yeah,
because
we were the first black kids in the school.
Yeah, which is crazy because there was, when I went to school there were no African Americans there at all. Yeah. So I can imagine that was a bit hard. Is that why your mom decided to homeschool? Because it became a bit intenser because you guys were traveling?
Because we were traveling, moving from Alpha to Florida, or Florida to Alpha, however it went. So just like the school system trying to figure out, I guess they just wanted to do the homeschooling. Not sure which came first though.
Yeah. That was just a little bit of time ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so getting to know your family through that time, I didn't really know you guys like we weren't having dinner together or anything at that point. We were just coming to your revivals and your events, and then of course you guys moved back to Trinidad. Mm-hmm. And the crazy story about like being able to come to Trinidad, I had went to Lee University to get my degree in ministry, moved up there, and I was sharing with some people some impact that your dad had in my life. Like he had spoken to my life before he ever knew me. And so I was sharing with these people about that experience. And then we had moved back to Florida, and I had this friend call and be like, hey, what was the name of that guy that you said like spoke into your life?
Yeah. People usually that Indian dude, that slicks his hair back a lot.
Yeah.
That dude.
And so they called and I said, well, his name is Pastor Ali. And I still at that point didn't know your dad really one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, that's funny because he's sitting in my living room right now. Now they were in Tennessee. We were in Florida. I was like, that's crazy. Yeah. And so then she said, he wants to know if you want to come to Trinidad. I was like, yeah, I am not a missionary. And your dad, dad. Like,
you weren't a missionary at that time?
I was not. I'd never traveled. I'd only been to Israel. That was the only place out of the country I'd ever been up until that point. Your dad was the first one to be like, come to Trinidad. And I was like, I don't even know where that is, first of all. Okay. And I didn't know that you guys were going to speak a language that you call English. Yeah. That is a little difficult to understand for this white American.
For those of you who don't know, Trinidad is in the Caribbean, 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela, as you would say. So, yeah, we speak English. But
sort of.
People say that we speak Spanish.
Yeah, definitely the first few times especially the first trip that we took there, I did not think it was real. I didn't think you were really speaking English. And it took me a while to be like, okay, I've got to slow this down in my brain and try to hear and process what you're saying, because you guys chop up a lot of your words. And talk really fast.
Do you want me to speak Trini or American?
I think you should talk Trini right now, and let's just practice whether I understand what you're saying or not. I'll ask you the next question, and you just answer me like Trini. So he's talking with an American accent, right? Okay,
yeah.
This isn't real for you.
I learned it from Home Alone. So some had some Chicago and New York accent, my mom said. Back then. I also learned it from think it was little Einstein as well. So when
That's a great combination.
yeah, so when they were talking, a lot of my American accents came from that, and then other American TV shows. So.
That is so funny. Well, most people that hear you now that you live in the States have no idea.
No, they don't.
They don't have any idea that you aren't American.
No, not until not if I mention it. Like the other day, me and my wife, we were at the mechanic shop and we were talking to a guy who was trying to transition from, I think it was Illinois or something, to Missouri, and we got to talking, and he said, I cannot hear the accent. Knowing that his son went to Jamaica, and he was like, their accents are heavy. I can't hear anything from you. I was like, well, I'm not talking yet right now.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yep.
And even like when when we were traveling the other day, and we had, I think it was Stephanie Chappelle in the car with us, and she's like, they are not speaking English whenever you and Dana were talking to each other. So it was kind of a transition for us too when we started traveling to your country. So that would have been, we were trying to figure out like 12 or 13 years ago, and of course we've come like, I don't know, I think we've come around 50 times. It's a lot. And so when we first started coming to your country, of course, fell in love with it and fell in love with your family. And that's when we really started bonding with your family, was through those trips.
Yeah.
And then you guys started, visiting here too. But tell me what that's like for you, like living in Trinidad, but having all of these missionaries come into your home, because we literally stay in your home. And then like, what does that look like? Like, what are you seeing from your point of view?
From my point of view,
here you go, y'all.
It takes a minute. It's hard to code switch.
Yeah, the transition stuff.
It's easy to code switch if I'm talking to a Trini, but if I'm talking to someone from America or of the sorts, and give me a second.
Sure, yeah, take your time.
All right. So, from my point of view, how it looked up, I see a lot of people just coming in and out, flowing in and out, and there was from, I can't remember the places they come from. So the very first people that I probably knew came probably was you and Jevin, was Uncle Rad, another minister that's from America. But the very first people that I could vividly remember is a really large group of like almost, I think it was teenagers or people in their 20s, and it was probably a group of, I don't know, felt like 12 or more just downstairs in the house, and we needed to be able to, one, entertain, or one, prepare food, or one, just make sure that your bedroom clean just in case anybody walks in your room. So from my point of view, that's how it looked. That
it was kind of stressful for you then.
Yeah,
you have to prepare for them.
Sometimes. Well, honestly, you'll just hear after the first 2 times, and your parents just say that, hey, we have these missionaries coming. It's like, oh, okay. Sometimes the first time I will hear about it is in announcements in church. So
yeah, your dad sometimes doesn't communicate early, does he?
No, he doesn't communicate that much sometimes. Sometimes when he just gets on a roll, and it just kind of rolls with it. And honestly, at that point in time in my life, I was kind of more studying about, I wasn't studying my schoolwork that much. No. I was more with my friends and hanging out type thing. So I think that's where my head was.
Well, whenever you were like witnessing these missionary groups work with your church and go, because we went to Dump Road, and we went and did like street side Sunday schools, and of course we did Give a Kid a Chance, where we're handing out all these backpacks. Like, from your perspective, like, did you feel like it was impacting your community? Did you feel like, oh, it's just another group dropping stuff on our people? Like, how did it feel for you?
It was a big impact. Sometimes I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I'll be like, gotta do this again kind of thing. But to the community itself, it definitely allowed them to find, like, if they were ever in trouble, this is the church that I can go to.
That's awesome.
So it always turned into, this is the safe haven place, given that we've been robbed multiple times at the church.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. So, but besides that, it allowed us to communicate with and get closer to the community and the churches around us as well. Just wanted to be able to help and put their hand in somewhere. But yeah, the community responds really well, especially when we go out with the bus and Chuck comes and starts saying free, 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 free.
That's such an experience for Americans. I think you guys don't know, like going out of the community. So that we have this bus, you guys hang out this megaphone out the window with a sound system. Americans and Trinities are walking in front of the bus in these communities, and then Chuck, our awesome ministry partner, is like in the bus yelling out, "Come to GRM for Give a Kid a Chance. It's free, 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 free." And like that started probably 10 years ago, and kids still ask me, "Where's free, free, free?"
Where's free,
Even
free?
if they don't know who Chuck is, where's free, free, free? And so it definitely was something that has stuck with the kids there, and just that, like going out of the community like that, honestly, is kind of a lost thing here in the U.S. I mean, we kind of really count on social media, but there's not a lot of one-on-one kind of community efforts like that. So that's something we really look forward to, because we enjoy that interaction with people, you know, just walking on the street and talking to people. So, but I know that's something you guys are kind of used to, like the community appreciates that kind of thing. And
if we have to do any concert or anything like that, the first thing we'll do is we gotta get flyers. Second thing we have to do, we got to go hand out the flyers. We need to plan a day to go out. Did we go out to this house, this neighborhood, that neighborhood? Did we give flyers to this church? And like physically going and doing these things. As now in a Compassion Church, the first thing we need to do is get out on Facebook.
Is it on social media? It does make it easier, but I do think you lose some of that communal aspect of it, because I was just listening to a statistic the other day that said 82% of people, if they were invited by a trusted friend to church, they would come. Do you know how many actually get invited?
How much?
2%.
2%? Milk.
But 82% said they would come if they were asked by a trusted friend.
Wow.
So, I mean, it just makes me think that maybe you guys are onto something that we've kind of missed, especially with social media, that maybe we've lost that one-on-one contact, and we just expect, oh, well, they've seen it on Facebook, they're probably fine, they don't want me to ask them. But actually, statistically, people are waiting for that ask. You know, so I think we could do way better and learn from you guys in that respect for sure.
And vice versa, that that the aspect of using social media, we can use that a little more, or just be more intentional with it, I guess. But no, that's kind of the story of every person that walks into church, their life. How I got my friends in church was through music, like playing them a song by Tripoli Manolo. I call it the seed song. It plants a seed in their hearts.
Oh, nice. I'm going to have to check it out.
And they was like, if this is gospel, I'll come to your church. I was like, yeah. That's how they came. That's how they either got saved, and they just integrated, and one moved to America as well. So.
Well, I think music is such a big part of your family. All of you guys are so musically inclined. And, I've been there when you guys were in the studio, you know, that's in the mission quarters. I've seen like artists from the Caribbean, and you go and look them up, and they're kind of a big deal. They're just walking through the house. We're out there, in the mission hall, like acting like crazy people, and then here's these big name artists walking through the middle of that.
Messenger.
Blessed Messenger. I've met him at your dad's church, and a lot of people through that, and it just made me realize what music really does and how much impact it has, especially in your country, because music is a big deal. But that music and that love that you guys for music, now we fast forward. We've been friends all this time. We've stayed with each other. Where we've lived in 3 or 4 different states, and you guys have come and stayed with us everywhere we've lived. And then when COVID happened, and your sister and brother were locked out of their country and their school shut down, they came and lived with us for several months in the middle of us, like building a whole church. It was a crazy time, but
it worked out.
It worked out good, and we love them so much, and we're glad that we were able to be a home to them in that time. But then we grow as a church here, so we're living here in Hannibal. Our church is growing. We're in need of a worship pastor, and me and Pastor are sitting there talking about this, and I'm like, I think I know a family that may have someone that can come, and we call you while you're still in Trinidad. You guys are in the process of getting citizenship or your green cards here. And we're like, hey, you want to come be our worship leader? What was that like? What was that phone call like for you?
So just going back a little bit, getting the green card, the process of that, I was on the fence about getting the green card. My mind was about staying in Trinidad because I personally was about to finish college. I had everything kind of set up. I helped my parents build an apartment place, and they said that wherever I want to be, and I can be there. I had a car set up, a Bluebird, a Nissan Sylphy.
A bluebird.
Yeah, that's what they call it, Bluebird Sylphy. And I mean, and I had a job at the bank ready for me to work at. And if I wanted to transfer to Canada, that was kind of the plan too, because it was the Republic Bank of Canada. Um, and so I kind of had everything kind of lined up and prepared and ready for me to go out into Trinidad and just work, live, minister, and do all those things. So when I got the call, that's kind of what was on my mind, because I planned out almost everything in my head already. Had everything planned out.
And the Lord laughs.
Yeah, yeah. It was hilarious. I mean, like I had a smoking hot girlfriend. She's over there. My wife is over there.
Who was the smoking hot girlfriend? Now it's this smoking hot. Who
still
wife.
is? Yeah, I see. Anyway, so I had a job ready, had a car, had a place to stay for free, ish. And then the call comes in. I'm like, huh, me? Because I'm still in youth ministry. I'm still learning and stuff. So I'm like, are you guys sure about this? I was like,
you're in your 20s, right?
Yeah. I was like, God, are you sure about this? Because I don't know. I was really on the fence about it. It wasn't like, say, a no-brainer for me, because I really went into the Word with this one. I really prayed about it, really asked God, is this your will? Is this what you want me to do? Took me to Jeremiah chapter 1, right before the interview that we had with Pastor Corey, and start saying, don't be afraid of the first is, don't despise the youth, don't. And I'm just like, and he says, go in. It's saying to go into the nation and stuff. And I was like, it was one of those things where you say, God, give me a sign, and I open the Bible and it just pops up on it. It was one of those. I'm not saying that that's something that people should do, but I don't know, I was desperate for a sign. I needed something.
Yeah. I think the Lord meets us there. I think about the story of Gideon, where he was asking for those fleeces. Some people look at that and are like, oh, well, you shouldn't question the Lord like that. He already said what he said, but the Lord met him there. Like he responded to the fleece he was asking. So, and it didn't seem like the Lord chastised him that. So I think it's completely fair, especially when we're not sure, when we need that extra, confirmation on that. And I think the Lord just answered that for you the way you needed to hear it.
But when there is the yes, when the yes came, when I heard the confirmation, there was peace, there was a stillness. I had no doubt that this is what God wanted me to do. Yeah.
And so whenever you had came here, and I knew you had left so much, you had left your fiance, you had left your family. A lot of your family had transitioned to different places, but that was your home. Like those were your people. And we tried to be family to you, but I know there must have been a sense of loneliness, and it was hard for you, I'm sure.
So coming to America, that I think it was a time for me just trying to. I was telling somebody this the other day, that the only way I knew that I was ready for marriage is knowing how to be alone, or knowing how to be in that place where Adam was before Eve came along. So I think that I looked at that not as saying I was lonely or anything, because I was still in communication with the people at home, and I had a great support system here in America. So, man, I mean, if I didn't have the support system, which is you, Jevin, I don't know what it would have looked like, or what I would have done. That I don't know what, but God, I'll say that.
Well, and you lived. We found you a place to live when you first got there. That was kind of across the street from us. And which caused my son to want to be at your house all the time. And I'm sure that was kind of annoying, because he was probably like 12 or 13 maybe when you first got there. But your relationship with him now is so beautiful to me. And you have taught him how to play the drums, and he has this Caribbean style to his drumming,
Yeah.
which no one else has here. But, since you have taught him how to play the drums, and I know you were teaching other kids how to play instruments too, but it seems like Nelson's the one that really grabbed it. So, like talking about, that transition to America and how close, you and Nelson have gotten, and just how he has gotten so many experiences and opportunities because of the drumming, and of course now he's on your team. So you're fast forward, you've joined our team at Compassion now, and you're the worship leader there, and you've been there how long now?
3 years, I would
3 years.
say.
And then you got married. You've been married a year and a half, almost
A year and 9 months.
a year and 9 months. And so you brought your wife over, and
Yep.
she got to transition to America too, which for her was even more different than it was for you, because you had been traveling back and forth.
Yeah, she's never been in a plane.
She'd never been in a plane. How was that for a girl to play the first time?
She was still like this. And she barely blinked.
Oh, that's too funny.
But no, she took it way better than I thought she would. Because sometimes she get I'm claustrophobic and stuff, but she took it really, really well in the plane. So.
Yeah, and her transition here probably was helpful that you were already here and you could help her navigate the things that we kind of helped you navigate through, and you already had a familiarity with it for traveling. So I'm sure that made it better, but still, it just, every time I think about it, because I've had to move far away from my family to serve the Lord. I'm 13 hours away from most of my family, but you guys are like another country, several countries. Yeah. And a lot of your family is all over, right? And so it makes me think of the scripture, and I'm comforted by it a lot of times, where it says that he'll give to us 100-fold those who've had to leave, your family and your homeland. So I am comforted by that. I don't know what 100-fold looks like if it's here in eternity, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I will take it too.
Yeah. So here we are at Compassion together, serving. I serve as Connections and now executive pastor, and now you are the worship director there. Yes, so that was your first full-time paid position, as a minister. What has that been like?
So getting here, the first thing I remember is the worship team before just started. They just started leaving.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I remember, that this person had to go, this person had to go, this person had to go. What was left back was just me and the drummer, and he came once in a while.
Yeah.
So it almost honestly just felt kind of like me at that point. So felt like I had to build it from ground up kind of thing. So it was definitely a growing process personally with me, how to lead, how to build structure and system, and just being in Compassion itself. They focus a lot on the leadership side of the biblical teaching. So just leaning into that made me understand more of the kingdom aspect and how to get people plugged in as leaders.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that is really good about the Compassion Network. So if you don't know, Compassion is not a denomination; it's a network of churches, and they offer tons of resources for training and growth and models on how to grow a church, and that's what we're a part of. And it's helped me so much too, being able to grow as a leader and having a structure already built that you don't have to build from the ground up. So that has been great, and just watching you as a leader, because we're very different leaders. I mean, I am definitely more aggressive and in your face than you, but I've learned a lot from your grace and your quietness, because you observe and you slow things down. And I've had to be sometimes what would John do? John probably would not jump on this as quick as what I would jump on this. Being slow to anger and, quick to listen. I think you really do that well.
Yeah. And putting the Uno reverse on it, I've learned from both you and Jevin that sometimes I have to be a little more stern, or just say what's on my mind sometimes, which has been something transitioning from Trinidad to America. I'm learning that it's different. Sometimes some things you have to say differently in a different light, whereas in Trinidad I'll just say it outright straight to your face kind
Yes.
of thing, and we'll be cool after.
Exactly.
So,
Well, that is something like the
mhm.
cultural differences, and I think some people take it for granted, especially with you, because you come in talking like an American and they forget that you're Trinidadian.
Yeah.
And so, and I really appreciate the differences, but I get
Yeah.
what you mean. It is definitely a more straightforward approach, and in Trinidad too, like the pastors can be very in your face,
Yep.
handle business, and move on.
Yep.
And here, people are so easily offended in comparison. So having to slow that down, I'm sure was, like, what can I hold them accountable to? If I say this, are they going to stay? Like, you're having to think about that. But also, like, I have to fear the Lord. Like, I have to fear the Lord first. Like, what is He calling me to do as a leader? And try to take that cultural element out of it, as far as like, it just matters what the Lord wants from me in here.
It helped me to really be justified by what the Bible is saying.
That's good.
So I was able to not just think about, okay, how am I going to say this in a nice way?
Yeah.
I'm thinking now, okay, how can I justify what I say by what the Bible said?
Right.
And it makes it easier, I guess. So,
I think so too, because you learn how to measure it right. And that's something like when I went through a season of counseling and I was really struggling, I was really new in the Lord. My counselor was teaching me how to measure like the word when people came to me with these words, especially words that like brought anxiety like to me. And she would be like, okay, so let's take it to the word. Let's measure it by the word. And then if it's not worthy of keeping, we just toss it. We just we don't hold it in our heart. We don't allow it to take root. So like what you were saying, like learning how to measure that was really helpful to me.
I've learned from Pastor Miles Monroe that passed. He always says, you make decisions based on consequences. So it's like, I kind of translated that into being intentional. What is the intention of this conversation? Am I having any fruit from this conversation? Is it gonna hurt, or is it gonna tear down? Is it gonna build back up? So that's kind of been my motto.
I love Miles Monroe.
Yes.
I listen to a lot of his stuff. He really is hard on American church, and I kind of like it. One time was talking about fasting and said he heard that America was having a national day of fasting, and they were fasting one meal. He said, that's not fasting, that's forgetting to eat. I'll never forget that.
I didn't hear that one.
Like, he totally nailed it, and I felt very convicted. Yeah. So he definitely roasted. That was a boom roast.
Yeah, boom roasted.
Boom roast, America.
Pun intended.
That's right. But yeah, so just thinking about like that transition and learning how to be here with Compassion Hannibal and how we're working together, and how you and I, although we're in very different departments, like we work really well together, and our family dynamic and just community in general, like we definitely established that. And now like your family is like our family. Like we spend holidays together. We have, I mean, we had Thanksgiving together last year, and like this is who we are. And I think that's as much as you as it is us, because your culture is so communal in general. And Jev and I were just talking about that, like how important it is for our home to be a place where people feel comfortable. They feel like family. They don't have to knock. So that's kind of like one of our things, like just making sure that people have family here. And so, because I believe that's the way Jesus wanted it, you know? So I think that helps too, makes that transition when people have to come from hard places or far away. So like, and I just know that the Lord's going to bless like you and your family, all of your family, because they have come so far to serve, to serve everywhere. And I think like going back to the premise of the show, Boom Roast. So the roast here is like, if you guys can come thousands of miles, say yes to the Lord and come thousands of miles, who has excuses for loving on their neighbor, right? That's a roast. Like who has an excuse for like, making a cake for someone, when they know they're down, like we can all do something. We may not all be called to leave our country, or for me, leave my family that's so far away from me right now in this season, but we're all called to do something. So I think stories like yours are very encouraging, because it's like, you just like, you got that word from the Lord and you're just like, okay, this is what we're doing. And then you bring your wife over and you guys are establishing ministry here. So
I believe heavily in the Great Commission, Matthew 28:19, to go into all the world and preach the gospel, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I think when I was in preaching in Trinidad with the youth, I would always close off and end off with that scripture. So it was always kind of a staple in my heart, which I'm just remembering right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, just both of us come from, Christian homes, and we had parents that really established the word in our heart. And even though when we were teenagers, we thought, yeah, okay, but it was taking root somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for my parents for us to be so far away from them. But I remind my dad all the time, you did that. Like, you put the word of God in me, and you're the reason that I respond to the gospel the way I respond to the gospel and go into all the world. And so as hard as it is for parents sometimes to release their kids to do big things, we have to put those seeds in our kids. And me and you are both testaments to having strong families that raise us to fear the Lord and involved in ministry, and then sending us out, because that's the gospel.
That's right.
So that's the Boom Roast, John.
Boom Roasted.
Thank you for being on Boom Roasted with me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's just finish up our last little swallow here. Boom Roast, y'all.